back, ladies and gentlemen, to the SSL Super Stacked Star League. That's the
SSL.
Okay, yeah. Lots of S's. More S's than you can count.
Super Stacked League. That's,
there we go.
Yeah, I fixed it.
That could just stand for Super Star League.
Yeah?
I guess there was actually a tournament called the Super Star League earlier. There's also the Sonic Star League. So there's like lots of SSLs out there. I don't know. Maybe that's just a popular letter.
I remember when this SSL first came out, and people were calling it the S2SL, and I just wanted to...
I think they still do that on Team Liquid. I'm just like, okay, well, no, that's not the name of the league. It's actually SSL. It just is. Sorry, there's no 2 in there. There actually was, what was it? It was almost called the S2SL. It was a tournament that was cast online with, like, In Control and Day 9. Way back in the day, what was the name of that tournament? Somebody knows that. It was way old. I think it was sponsored by like either Razer or Intel or something like that. I don't really remember. Somebody out there remembers the name of that, so definitely go tweet that at me. And yeah, I have not gotten any tweet from anybody about SSL tonight. So
the tweeters are slacking.
You guys are slacking. Maybe they're all in Korea like us, and they've been casting all day, so they're as tired as I am. Probably not, but if you are, then shout out to you guys out there. It's been a very long day of StarCraft here. In fact, I heard from one person who said that they were going to bed watching StarCraft in North America because GSL was on a pretty good time, kind of in the evening over there. And then now they can wake up and there's SSL on. So, I don't know. There's a transcending time and space, StarCraft. Yeah. It's pretty good.
And you guys who are just tuning in now, we have the best matchup of the night. It is going to be Classic versus TY. They faced off earlier today. Classic was able to take the 2-1 victory over at GSL, and every game went long, and every game was sick. I hope we get the same here in this best of 5.
Yeah, it was really interesting to watch Classic play today because you seed it into this group and it's just so stacked. You never really want to vote against innovation in TY.
Yeah.
But we have to reference it, so there's going to be spoilers. Sorry about that. But for innovation to go 0 and he went 1-4.
Yeah.
Out of his games today, he won 1 out of 5.
What happened?
I don't know.
What happened?
Oh, it was sort of, I want to call it Biel syndrome because he also looked like he was going to get out first in his Group A of GSL, and he got bibbidi-bopped. That was
bibbidi-bobbidi-boo.
Yeah.
Out of GSL, poor guy.
Yeah, 0-4 for him. So really surprising. Some of the top players just kind of losing, and other guys like Classic who don't get it twisted. This is a guy who's won SSL, IEM. He's won what is it? What's the third tournament he won? GSL.
He won GSL,
yeah. So he's very well accomplished, but a lot of people like to kind of slight him in some matchups. Well, he's already like one of, if not the best PvP player out there by far. He also apparently is super good at TVT, as he was able to crush it today. And here he comes out tonight playing the same matchup that he played earlier today. 1 win and 2 losses. Oh no, it's a negative score. Doesn't matter because he already beat TY today. Let's see if he can do it again in a best of 5.
Yeah, it would be pretty sick for him if he wins this one up against TY, a very strong opponent. It would put him at 2-2. You do not want to go 1-3 at this point because that definitely hurts your chances of getting into the fast lane. And if you can go 3-2, that'll be even better. He's doing some praying right now, it seems, some meditation.
I don't blame him, man. This is a game of stamina. Both of these players had to be up very early to make it to the GSL. I think TY lives a little bit near there. I think Classic does not. So, they had to start playing here at 1 p.m. this afternoon. And now we are here at...
TY's taking a nap.
Just about 1 a.m. Yeah, it's 11 p.m. right now. So these guys have been at it for a while. Very long day for both of them. TY always looks tired, but it kind of surprises me. We've had him here very late. A lot of times he's the last game of the day. Last 2 days he's been playing. He is the second last game of the day.
Yeah.
So.
And he always seems to play on Saturday GSL. I don't know why. It's just like he does all of his StarCraft in one day.
Gets it out of the way as the rest of the week practice, man. Easy. All right, here is our map pool for our second best of 5. It's Abyssal Reef, Whirlwind, Overgrowth, Newkirk Precinct, and Daybreak. I'm not going to be seeing Frost. Not going to be seeing Belshire Vestige. Those maps are out of there.
Yeah. Kicked to the curb. And Abyssal Reef to start. We could actually get a very long game to start here. And then we go into Whirlwind, funnily enough, so definitely could turn out to be a long series. I hope you're taking your vitamins, Rapid. You're ready for this one?
Yeah, I have cough drops right here. I've got some vitamin C drink mixed into my water. It's keeping hydrated. I was actually yesterday, so 2 days ago, I had like the most insane migraine in my life. Popped that out of the way, and then the next day I woke up and I went to watch the movie King Arthur. So bad I got even sicker. It was really bad. Like so King Arthur, right? What do you know about King Arthur? It's got knights, it's got some like a wizard, and it's got like a sword and a stone, all right?
Yeah, that's the guy that pulls the sword out of the stone.
That's about all the King Arthur that was in the movie. It's about as historically correct as the movie The Great Wall was, if you went and watched that. So
I heard that movie was really bad too. The movie that I saw recently was Get Out. That was actually really disturbing. Definitely would recommend.
Well, one of our players today, Brendan, will have to get out of today's matches. This is only the next to last day of the SSL Stage 2, so no player is actually getting out totally yet, especially with Hero losing that last game. But here we go into game number 1, Classic versus TY, round 2.
Fight
or fly. Better fly.
We'll see if our Terran buddy can get his revenge, but he is going up against Classic down here in the bottom right.
And up in the upper left in the blue, this is TY. Also played his last match today in GSL in the blue as well, so he will be very familiar with that. So, all right, Abyssal Reef, they played this map earlier today, and it's very good for a more passive play style. TY actually looked remarkably passive in his games today. Played them back, went up to 3 bases and then moved out, although he does sort of arc his Terran tendrils around the map with some drops occasionally. But what Classic's been doing is this double Oracle Stargate opener.
Yeah, he always gets a lot of damage done with that. Very consistent. His control is quite good. And even in the games where TY would make turrets, Classic still found a way to get some damage done. On a map like Abyssal Reef, Gateway Nexus Core is the build that you do want to go for. Classic will go for that. We'll see if he does follow up.
Wait, does Classic have a Gateway?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. He built it next to his main Nexus. All right.
Yep.
Just saw it, forgot about it instantly. All right, well, Cheeky Probe here in the natural for TY is going to delay the command center just a little bit, force an SCV, lose some mining time, getting every little advantage you can. Cybercore on the way, so it's not going to be anything too crazy, but with a base up and on the way for TY as well. Not going to be seeing anything from him either early on, other than a Scouting Reaper, which already crazy, Brendan. TY scouting across the map. Oh my god.
What a boss.
I know, right? How does he do it?
Look at the play here from Classic. He actually delays a Mothership Core, delays Warp Gate research to get out a very fast Stargate. It's going to be up to TY to get the scouting, but look at this. He actually doesn't go across the map. He keeps the Reaper back at home.
Yeah.
He's going to be missing this Stargate.
Okay, so one thing that we did see in GSL earlier today is that TY learned his lesson. Byun is making everybody he plays against a better player by forcing them to scout early. And so TY keeping the Reaper back defensively, also scouting a little bit. It's kind of weird to see it just standing still. If you're not going to send it across the map, you might as well scout around your base. Reapers can get back home pretty quickly. But he does delay it, and now actually is heading out for a trip across the map.
Yeah, and you can see he's going right for that ledge where Classic has an Adept patrolling. So it'll be interesting to see if he can sneak up the ledge.
Oh.
Not even going to go for it, just wants to go in the front gate. And a couple more shots will do it. Going to pick that off. That's a really important pick-off. Does not get the scout on the Stargate.
Really denies a lot. Won't see any of the tech behind anything. And yeah, this Stargate is going to start pumping out. One Oracle just now finishing. Most likely a second one on the way soon.
Ooh, he's even going to keep it here at home.
Oh, it's a Phoenix coming up next. That's kind of interesting.
The Phoenix is kind of weird. You know, like think generally you would go for the double Oracle, as you were talking about, but what the Phoenix actually allows you to do is if you're going up against Widow Mines, you can fly in the Phoenix first and eat the shot, and then fly in the Oracle. And if you're just trying to defend with only Widow Mines, it's very good against that. Also, it can fight 1v1 versus a Viking, help out against that.
That's actually really interesting. I'm glad you pointed that out, Brendan. Definitely wouldn't have expected that, but oh, this is what it's really good at doing. What you're going to be able to do is catch up to the medevac, stay on top of it, force it out of the air, and then also off the ground, because you can't drop anything. The Oracle will just kill it instantly.
He's like, I dare you. Go ahead and try to drop it. And everything is going to be picked off here, including the medevac. Funny that he didn't follow up with any of his adepts on the ground. Looks like he just wanted that medevac.
It's still already a great pickup. That means that one less medevac later on, healing up his Marines, and no medevacs on the map right now for TY. He is going for a third base. It's actually being built on location, not up in the main, so this is even going to be a little bit vulnerable, and especially if this were a second Oracle coming out, I would be really a little bit worried for TY, because you can definitely kill a bunch of Marines early on if they don't have any medevac support, and they're kind of spread across the map a little bit thinly, not necessarily all there defending the third coming up.
You see this +1 being made here by TY, and we finally do have the Forge on the way here for Classic, as well as the Twilight Council. And as we were expecting, Rapid, this game number 1 is going to go past the early game, and it's looking like we might go into a bit of a longer one here.
Yeah, it certainly does appear that way, and I think this is exactly what both players are totally comfortable with, kind of playing towards their comfort zone instead of doing anything way out of the ordinary. But whoa, that is a lot of gateways coming up for Classic. Going to start to hit his macro stride here really strongly.
He's going to get that macro big time on the way.
Glaves as well.
So, haven't seen Charge yet. We are playing on the new patch, I assume.
I wouldn't be surprised to see that. You know, we've definitely seen it a lot in situations where it doesn't work out. Wow, going up to 5 gateways additional being constructed right now. That is, whoa, that is a very, very large number. So this will be a very large Phoenix Adept timing. I don't want to call it an all-in because we're at 3 bases in the middle of the game, but it is going to be a very strong push.
Yeah, I definitely do like the play. And wow, Combat Shields just started here at 6 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. I think he must have forgotten that.
Yes,
or maybe he just added his second tech lab, and because of the build that he got, actually, the stim is a little bit later too.
That's definitely a more likely possibility, Brendan. So, Phoenix Adept, it's been a good go-to strat for a very long time. Adept's got a little bit nerfed, and people kind of forgot about them. We've seen a few all-ins, probably mostly from Deer, but this is a lot of Adepts, and with +1 and Glaives almost completed, this is going to be very scary for TY to defend.
You see that he just caught the tail end of some of those Adepts on the left side, and he scans to see exactly what kind of army he's going up against, and immediately pulls back everything for the defense. We do have 6 Phoenixes in the sky right now, and he's just got to group up here with his Warp Prism and get another big Warp in. Actually, that one Widow Mine chipped off a lot of the shields on most of those Adepts.
Yeah, flying over it, not able to take that out earlier on. Now, I'm glad to see these Liberators up. That's going to make it a little bit more difficult to just go totally in with your Adepts. But, I mean, you can always shade past it. You can try to take it out, dive in and take it out with Phoenix. Defenses are strong for TY, but are they going to be strong enough? Be interested to see if Classic really wants to hammer this home, because it looks like he's pulling back.
Yeah, just a bit of pressure so that he can get a much safer 4th base and double Robo Colossi on the way. So you could see, as you were talking about before, Classic really comfortable with going late game, just getting small advantages here and there on his way to that super late game Protoss Death Ball.
Cool, having to cancel a warp in there as everything is pulled all the way back in the main. And oh, Liberators. So cute. But we'll be able to take that Warp Prism out, and that's actually a big deal.
The Warp Prism finding out for the first time that, in fact, this world does have invisible walls. He's not just able to fly through.
It's a video game version of the Truman Show.
Yeah. What if in StarCraft you could just fly and it like takes you to the other side, like Pac-Man? So instead of flying across the map, you can just go down and then right. Then you show up behind the Terran's base.
I had this discussion with Artosis a few weeks ago, and we decided that basically it would wind up with everything being built in the middle of the map, because it's the only part of the map that is truly far away from the other parts.
But then it would just be close to the other guys' buildings that are also in the middle of the map.
Yeah, so it would be about sort of like a race to the middle. Wow, big shade in, looking to get some damage done. Lots of Marauders there, and the Adepts all going down.
Yeah, not focusing down any of the SCVs there, so just losing a bunch of Adepts, a pretty nice trade for TY.
I mean, if you look at the army supply, still not that big of a difference. It's about 30 right now, but by the time the Terran gets across the map, it wouldn't be 30 anymore. Because Protoss reinforces, instantly wherever he wants. The ranged Liberator's on the way, though, and I really, really like this. We saw that TY go for the same exact strat earlier on today, so that's definitely repeating itself. But Classic definitely did not have this high a number of Colossus, even with 2 more on the way right now.
Yeah, really trying to build up that Colossus count, and you can see that TY is very prepared for all of these Adept run-bys all the time. Always has his Marauders in place. He's got Widow Mines spread out. Ooh. Fortunately, does lose a Liberator there.
Cheeky pick-off, and okay, this is really cool, Brendan. A Fleet Beacon up, and it's Tempests on the way.
Yeah, needs an answer to those ranged Liberators. Seems like he read this was coming. Big run by of 4 medevacs over here to the third base of Classic. This should do a decent amount of damage, but actually the Colossi are in position.
Well, a few of them just ran all the way back there to the back, and now those are the ones that are actually getting a lot of damage done. Weird. Still haven't actually scouted anything there in the main, so that's 12 probes? What? Oh my god. He just didn't.
It's pretty insane.
Kill those last few units, and they killed a bunch more SCVs. Wow, that's pretty big.
Ooh, and he's going for the throat here. He wants to get position at the natural. Tempests are in position now, but so are those Liberators. He's going to follow up with the bio onto that natural. Classic struggling to get in position, but at the same time trying to do some harass of his own at the third base of TY.
Classic's going to lose like every probe here. This is a lot of damage. Finally, these Liberators going to get unsieged, but I mean they stayed there for a while, and that Nexus is going to go down. The bio on the ground will die eventually, but that is a lot of resources committed. And on the other side of the map, look at what's happened. Classic has only been able to take out 2 SCVs. TY just everywhere all at the same time. Classic falling apart.
Yeah, TY the multitasking god, and you can see it really coming through in this game. Classic struggling to keep up as TY decimates his economy. Only 35 probes left over.
I had this discussion with Artosis, Brendan.
Yes.
Did not reduce 1/10 of his economy. That's what decimates mean.
Is there another word for taking out about half of the economy?
Is there? For about half. Yeah, are there other words?
Quintimate?
No, that sounds terrible.
Because Deci is like 1/10, maybe a 50th, or
what is 50,
half.
Though?
I don't know.
Is there? So here's your question.
I'm struggling.
Tonight.
I don't know.
This is where this gets to be an interactive cast. If no other words to describe the fraction of an army or of something that is destroyed or separated, like decimate, and is a more appropriate term for us to use as casters, tweet it at Brendan Valdez and at Rapid Casting. Use the hashtag SSL and let us know, because that'd actually be really handy to know for these kind of games.
Also, hashtag Classic Win or hashtag TY Win if you want to show support for your fellow pro gamers. Here we go. This is a very interesting kind of mini base trade. We saw this actually in GSL as well.
Unpowering a bunch of structures there, but this is a very strong kind of Protoss death ball pushing in. There's a lot of Vikings here and not a lot of anti-air to defend these Tempests. Those are going to be the real forces of inevitability, blinking towards the side, trying to pick off a few of those Vikings, but Tempest very vulnerable. Looks like back at home, Classic is able to clean up TY's drop there, force that back across the map.
You can see that Classic right now really struggling to mine a lot of minerals, only on 28 probes, so this is pretty much his army. This is what you're going to be seeing out of Classic, and the more time that goes by, TY will get closer and closer to maxing out and just making enough stuff to deal with these Tempests. Good micro so far from Classic with these Tempests. Unfortunately, will lose one, though.
Yeah, has to keep those out of range of the Vikings. You know, nowadays Tempests are not quite the Tempests of yore, oh, these are chargeless zealots, man. So sad to watch. But trying to actually get around the edge there. A little sloppy there now on the Tempest control. It's going to be losing one, might lose a couple there. Yeah, another one does fall. There's only one remaining. Classic, though, in a great spot. We'll have to be careful that he doesn't overstep into those liberation zones.
That Viking number 5 at a time. He's got 3 starports. He was not messing around with this air production, and one by one the Colossi fall, the Tempests fall out of the sky too, and it looks like TY will have enough to clean it up. GG, TY takes game number 1.
For a guy that looks that tired, he is good at playing StarCraft, man. Every once in a while, it'll be really late at night. Maybe I've had a long night out. I get back to my apartment and I'm just like, oh, time for StarCraft. And I'm just like about to fall asleep in my chair. But I'm still playing for some reason. And my games do not go that well, Brendan.
Yeah. That's when you don't notice the giant drop in your main and you lose everything.
Now I'm trying to like build probes and stuff.
Yeah. You're like, wait, why don't I have anything?
Like, oh,
what happened
to
my probes?
The victory screen comes up and it looks like a lot like the defeat screen. And I look a little closer, it is the defeat screen. I'm like, how did that happen? Yeah, but for TY, even though it's been a very long day, still looks right on point. He was confident enough to go for that base trade there at the end. We had another game today that looked very base tradey, kind of similar to that, but on a much larger scale. So definitely check out all of the games of StarCraft that are being played. But this series looks like it is heating up, Brendan. Already one win on the table for TY, but Classic as well looked very, very solid. So he comes out on top in game number 2. But first, some jams. We're basically casting from our garage anyway, so here we
always
go.
Inspiring me to pick up that electric guitar that I've always wanted to.
Yep, on the map, Whirlwind, our Protoss player in the yellow. It's Classic.
He's matching with his keyboard. Up in the top left, at cross positions, it is TY, the blue Terran.
Yep. Playing for Splice, recent pickup, and is doing fantastically. So,
yeah,
definitely legitimating that.
Nice hot pickup there for Splice.
Indeed. The Splice of Medevac and their hot pickup of TY. Well, here comes a very early probe across the map. Brandon, what could this possibly be for? Probably just scouting, but possibly, Brendan, some cheeserino.
He goes for the scout there in the middle at the watchtower first. And now he is going up to the top right. So he's not putting a Stargate in between 2 bases.
And just hoping it's in a good spot.
Yeah. What he could do is scout up here and then go all the way across the map to the mid-left and put it there. Because he knows that TY is not going to be up in the top right. So we'll see if he does want to do that. He is adding both gases right now, but does have that Nexus out on the map.
When you said that, I double-checked every base on the map and just had to make sure that it wasn't like out on the map. No, it's actually just in the natural where it is supposed to be. But here comes Classic, and he will finally scout TY. This is going to give him information. Once again, TY not going for any scouting of his own. Might be a little bit vulnerable if that probe takes a turn and starts proxy on the way. Which it will not, by the way.
Well, there's the Reaper, and actually the probe will get away. Up here, and Classic might look to spite you, Rapid. The caster curse. Will it happen? It looks like maybe he just wants to hide it and scout later.
I think he's just hiding that for now. That is not a super secret proxy location. I think a lot of times that's scouted pretty early by Terran, even if they're just moving out along the edge, or especially if they want to take a third eventually. A lot of times they'll send just like a straight unit there. The probe survives, hidden, tucked away in a crevice of the rock.
Yeah, very cozy position for that probe. But is a little bit scared because he's out on the map by himself.
And Colton alone, and now a Reaper versus a Zealot. Tell me more about how this matchup goes, Brendan.
Well, the Zealot is not quite that fast. So as you can see, the Reaper does outrun it, but cannot outrun the Adept. The Zealot's older brother smacks him down. And that does not get a scout of the Stargate, so actually TY does not know what tech is on the way.
Indeed he does not. TY in the meantime going for an Expo of his own. That does have that up and running, and with an orbital just now completing, he's in a good spot as far as where he wants to be so far this game, but he's not going to know about these oracles coming out, although he might kind of figure it out just because he has been playing against Classic pretty much all day today. So he's going to know in and out what to expect.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, that Oracle is coming on out, and it looks like TY actually does want to go for a drop of his own. 1 Widowmine and 6 Marines on the way, and 1 pesky Widowmine into the 3rd. Will kill one probe, rather.
Yay, Widowmine. Good job, Widowmine.
Mini celebration.
Moral support. There you go.
Yay.
All right, so 3rd base is up for both players. TY still has yet to really complete his, but shading there on top of the Widowmine and picking it off before it burrows.
Sniped. Absolutely decimated Rapid. And here we go. The Widowmine and the drop of Marines actually coming into the main now. The Oracle is going to pop out here. Good micro here by Classic to keep both of them alive, and will actually clean up all of those, but the Widowmine will get 1.
Oh my goodness. Actually really good control. So Widowmine's still successful, and with no Robo Bay, it's going to be a little bit difficult to really deal with that right in the middle of the mineral line. He might try to split his probes and give away only 1 to it again. That would still be kind of complicated. Might also see that unburrow micro, and then all of a sudden it's like, ooh, I just lost so much mighty time for no reason.
Uh-oh.
Oh, no.
He's going to get another hit here.
Oh, he actually deliberately retargets it, too. Oh, my God. Actually goes for the the only one. Picks it up and will run away. Wow.
He actually messed up. It was pretty cool how he was retargeting, but actually still only got 1 probe. As I think it was Artosis that said, you cannot actually surround that and kill it before it does burrow. So Classic smartly does run away.
I think you can surround it and kill it, but you need more probes. Or if you have a full,
I'm not sure.
So if you have a full surround on probes on a Widowmine, you can't kill it before it burrows?
I think that's what Artie McTardy did tell me.
Yikes. If somebody else can confirm that for us, that would be crazy. So very scary time. Giveaway. Oh wow, okay, goes for the other probe.
Yeah.
Thought I was gonna hit the close one.
That Widowmine, he really respected the 1 probe that was actually fighting. Wanted to target the coward probe that was just mining. And 3 more gates on the way. We do have this Forge up and running, +1, and Glaives on the way. No Phoenixes this time from Classic, though. Did just remake 1 Oracle. And looks like he just wants to go with mainly a ground army.
No Phoenixes for TY either, Brendan.
That's true. I'm glad you pointed that out.
So is somebody else there. I'm sure, maybe, possibly. Okay, so rings of missile turrets starting to be set up, and I always love to see Terran players who are not afraid to invest a little bit in early anti-air defenses. Protoss players, I feel like, maybe some insane percentage, maybe 20% of PVTs involve, big drops into the main, or, attempts at, warp-ins, or even if it's just, a big Protoss air army trying to get in for a base trade, maybe. Turrets, great ideas, and especially even if you're just keeping tiny little oracles out of your base, it's really, really good to not have to worry about that. Peace of mind.
I really like it on this map, too, because there's a really big ledge over there into the main, but also it's a really big map. So if you have your army defending at the 3rd base and Classic tries to out-multitask you, then it just keeps you safe, as you said. Peace of mind. But actually the drop is coming over here to the 3rd base. A couple of Liberators will escort out the Warp Prism as Classic attempts to just target down some SCVs and shade away.
Yeah, but targeting down, or not targeting down, but pushing away that Warp Prism, definitely a lot of value. Anytime you can push that back, oh wow, actually we can kill it with Liberators. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, I saw the Cyclones actually got a kill. Their second confirmed kill against an air unit earlier on in GSL. So.
Oh yeah, that was
pretty nice.
Pretty cool to watch. Not something you get a chance to see every day, for sure. So Blink is now on the way with another Prism to replace that, and Immortals looks like they're going to be added in. This is really interesting to see the way that this comp evolves. This is for Classic. He goes for lots of one unit, and then lots of another one, then lots of another one. Just kind of builds them on. This is the Taco Town comp.
Taco Town comp?
Yeah, have you never seen that skit? They go to Taco Town, right? And they get a taco. And the taco gets wrapped in a chalupa, and that chalupa gets wrapped in a gordita, and then that gets wrapped in a pizza, and that gets wrapped in a
what?
That gets wrapped in a turkey. Yeah, it's basically it's really cool. So when you take one thing, wrap it in another thing, and another thing, and another thing, it's the Taco Town.
Okay.
And that's kind of what Classic
see what you're
did.
saying.
Built a bunch of Adepts, then he was like, okay, all right, need some Stalkers, wrap that around it. All right, got to get some Immortals, put those in. It's looking good. But now, wow, 4 Liberators at a time. DY knows what side his bread or taco is buttered on.
I really just want a taco now. Like
I don't want my taco buttered, though.
Yeah.
Does not sound
would be
good.
a little bit weird.
Not legit, guys.
I don't know. Butter's kind of good. Americans kind of put it on anything, basically.
Yeah, but not food of Spanish descent. I don't feel like I know of any Spanish food that is just buttered up for no reason.
I don't know if they're buttered up, per se, but definitely
I guess tacos are kind of fried. You know? Yeah.
Might fry it in butter or something like that.
If you have never had the delicacy of fresh homemade tortillas, find an abuelita out there that's going to hook you up with some, because that is some mighty fine eating, if I do say so myself.
Is that what they say in Mexico?
No, that's my Spanish accent, Brendan.
Some mighty fine tacos. Wow. Interesting. Here we go. The warp in underneath, or rather the shade in underneath those Liberators. Liberators are all alone. Where is the bio? That's the big question on my mind.
Here. Finally, they will blink forward, but that's a lot of Liberators finally targeting them down. But they got a lot of kills, a lot of value. But more importantly, Classic has the high ground, Brendan. But is that enough of an advantage? Looks like there's plenty of bio here, and maybe not enough Adepts. Those did come in early. Here come in 2 Oracles, but they're not actually dealing any damage. They're going to put down stasis wards? I mean, I guess it's effective at blocking out a few of those units, but there's still more Protoss on the way. He needs to warp in maybe a little bit more, and TY holds.
Yeah, wow. I mean, spending a lot of time killing those Liberators and then fighting with only Adepts against the bio, and not even fighting with the Oracles at the same time. So definitely an interesting engage from Classic, if I say so myself, but killed a bunch of SCVs, but TY definitely in a pretty good spot.
So maybe you can call that worth and say, okay, I just killed 25 SCVs. That's a pretty good chunk of TY's economy. It will put him down in SCVs, or down in workers just overall, but I mean, you will have those mules. That'll make, I guess, that difference. And there's a Widowmine to even things up a little bit more.
I wish that TY actually just went for the counterattack, because Classic's army is not all that big, and he's teching and expanding at the same time. So TY, I feel like, could have gotten a really nice advantage if he just went and pushed the 4th. He is going to scan that now. But it looks like he actually wants to rebuild that Liberator count first, wait for advanced ballistics, and then go for an attack, and I do not blame him, but I just wonder if Storm is going to be ready for when TY actually hits, because he is waiting.
You know, it always feels like, especially for Classic, one of the things he tried to do earlier today is get a bunch of High Templar, put them in a Warp Prism, and sort of save them.
Oh, yeah.
He then lost that Warp Prism and had no Storms and died instantly. So, spoiler alert, not a good strat. But now he's going to come in. He also then went on to win a game through Epic Storms later on. So, something that TY will definitely know all too well, remembering that series, that he narrowly won. Narrowly.
Narrowly.
It was very slim margin. But to go back to exactly what we have on the way here, the Storm coming out is going to be a very big deal for Classic to deal with all these clumped up bio. But I mean, one thing TY didn't do in that situation earlier was split his forces up. So as long as he does that, I think he's going to be pretty good, and is also not needing to avoid clumping up his Liberators, because he does have quite a few of those.
Yeah, the Liberators are going to be really key here with the Advanced Ballistics now done. One Storm goes out and doesn't hit anything.
Classic runs around that side. He's going to also scout the big lift up and drop coming into his main base.
He's actually following it with the Storms here. He's going to drop it out and kind of storm his own stuff. But here comes the actual drop coming on in. He will drop out everything in those 4 medevacs. Pretty decent Storm, but not enough to actually clean up this army.
I thought he was just going to feed back every medevac and maybe kill a couple, but instead he's now going to lose his High Templar archives. Was that still upgrading Storm? No, because he actually just Storm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
Okay. We all get one, guys. It's a late night. Okay, that's my mulligan. Plenty of Adepts, though, back in the base, so that should be able to do it. But he's not actually paying attention to his army at the 3rd base. No, he's going to lose so much. Looking forward there, trying to take out these Liberators. We'll grab a few, but there's plenty more. There's like 5, 6 Liberators behind ranged Liberators.
Ranged Liberators do the trick here against Classic.
What a way to Gim the Wane.
Gim the Wane. That took me actually a little bit to get, but
that's what he did,
I got it. So 2-0 for TY right now. This is looking a lot different compared to the series we saw earlier on. Maybe TY, he's so used to playing this kind of GSL in the morning, SSL at night, that his stamina is so good that he's actually out-staminaing Classic here.
Could very well be what is occurring here. Venden Blades. Keeping the spoon.
Mead Relton.
No, it doesn't.
It does work. What?
No, it doesn't work, man.
But Vrenden Blades works? No, I don't think so.
Pretty sure. I get to decide things.
Okay, Mr. Meme Lord.
It's been that kind of day. Like, let's be real a little bit. It's kind of interesting for me to be able to put myself in the shoes of these players, having also been right along with them, working all day long, coming to nice games of fatigue, definitely setting in. But it's setting in TY's favors. He continues to close games out 1 by 1. Classic needs to find an answer to this. Game 1, he tried Tempest, it didn't work, didn't have enough underneath him. Game 2, he tried no Tempest, also didn't work.
He's taken off a sweater. He is going into his next mode, Super Saiyan.
If Classic has what it takes to go even further beyond, we fly better fly our way into game number 3 of our second series of the night. Our Protoss player up here in the yellow, he is Classic.
And his opponent down on the bottom left, the blue Terran, it is TY. Up 2 games currently, and I think you're definitely right, Rapid. Classic is going to have to go beyond the game in order to take 3 wins in a row against a guy like TY.
All the way back in time to 2004.
Beyond the game.
Portal in cyberspace. Back when cyberspace was like the hip, cool words.
Yeah.
That's
we got a couple of cyber athletes going head-to-head right now.
Indeed, digital sportsmen on the map.
Digital sportsmen, because they're actually digital, they're not actually real.
Indeed they are.
Very early probe coming over here. This is becoming very common in the PvT matchup, especially on shorter maps like this.
Some binary badasses.
Nice.
What are the other names? Do you have any other names out there, guys, for for cyber athletes? Then let us know. All of the TY he has 60 APM right there. I guess he took his hands off the keyboard there for a second. All right, there we go. Back up to a little over 250, 350 even, hitting it there for a second. APM going crazy.
Oh, that's not on center, but he can.
He's just trying to make a Venn diagram, Brendan.
Yeah, maybe. So we did get a couple of tweets. One guy says Classic takes out TY. His name, funnily, is Dark_2016. I would definitely agree. 2016 was a pretty good year for Dark.
Yeah.
And another guy at 95PWO, Dennis, he says, F Protoss, hashtag SSL. So thank you for your input. Protoss is definitely getting F'd in this series so far.
That's about the grade I would give it. Not really. Classic's actually playing really well. So finally just throwing down that Nexus. Natural on the way. eBay back in the base for TY. I'd be signaling a progression towards a little bit of a later game and or getting ready for maybe a Stargate opening, which indeed is the case. Classics will finish up right about now, heading into an Oracle on the way. Wow, immediate missile turret from TY. Whoa.
He knows. He's read the book of Classic.
Yeah, but
the Encyclopedia of Classic.
Encyclopedia Classica.
Yes.
when I was growing up, oh wow, even a pylon put down. So no, you cannot move that.
So
center.
Obnoxious.
Yeah, when I was growing up, we had a copy of the set of Encyclopedia Britannica. My dad would pay me $5 per volume I read. And I was like, $5? Yeah, and then I realized it's basically slave labor, and I'm like reading this huge, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages for like what amounts to about a penny an hour. I'm like, okay, Dad, thanks, man.
But that's how you know so much stuff.
No, I actually remember almost none of it.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I faked most of it anyway.
Well, you got to work smarter, not harder.
Whoa!
Oh boy, look at the positioning on that Widow Mine. So juicy.
Well, the Marines were what was juicy, kind of being the forbidden fruit there that Classic flew in and got
what is happening over there? Why? Why is he making an engineering bay at his own gold? Explain this to me, Rapid. Explain it.
So, Terrans use engineering bay blocks as a way to prevent things from but that's your own base, man. What?
TY is being so rude right now.
What is he doing? So, I was thinking maybe those are to scout for drops coming across the map, but I'm so confused, Brendan.
Well, I understand blocking Classic's gold, but the engineering bay at his own gold I do not get. So if somebody on Twitter understands better than two StarCraft casters, maybe you can go ahead and tweet at us.
He just canceled all the buildings, too, so I'm so confused. All right, man.
TY's just trolling. It's gotten so late in the night, he's like, well, let's make this game interesting.
He just forgot where he's supposed to be building his units. That is so weird.
See, I need a second engineering bay, and this is the SCV that I had selected. So let's make it at the gold base.
What could possibly go wrong? All right, now more players building buildings in the middle of the map, Brendan. I don't know what... Okay, well, that makes a little bit more sense. The pylon as a way, means of reinforcement. So, TY going to move forward a little tiny push. Big wall of pylons in the front, but double cyclones can take those out pretty quickly. Pre-overcharge.
Triple cyclone, even. That's the hero Widow Mine that killed the Oracle earlier on.
Still alive, still kicking.
And TY actually moves back, just puts on a little bit of pressure. And
starts to bunker up and wall, so he is actually foreseeing this big Adept shade. Now, +1 just now started, so not really going to be coming to bear here, but at least Adepts could actually pick off the Cyclone. That would be very, very big, and they'll get it.
That's huge. This bunker is not finished, and TY might be in just a little bit of trouble. Will fight with all of his SCVs as Classic shades on in, and wow, he's actually going to clean up all those SCVs. Stasis Ward is going to be pretty sick as well, and it looks like Classic has done it here in Game 3.
Okay, wow. The SCVs, they did. That's about my analysis there. Great shade in there, way more than TY had enough to deal with. He was actually the one pressing aggressively across the map and then realized, wait a second, might be in a little bit of trouble, and indeed he was.
Yeah, so Classic, he adepted him as he adapted to TY's style and does take the win. So we, ladies and gentlemen, do have a series here as TY finally does show that he is mortal, in fact.
If there was a YMCA for the words Protoss, I would be doing it right now. P-R-O-T-O-S.
There's probably a way to do that.
How do you make a
P? Yeah, you got to stand up and then go like this.
R? I don't know. I'm not good at making figures with my arms.
Come on.
Is that an R? It does not work
Come
out.
on, get on my level,
We got to be the Protoss Ginyu Force over here. Well, have you guys watched in chat?
No, wait. When you used to go to the doctor when you were a kid, did they have that poster with
the
letters
where you test your eye vision out on them?
No, like it was letters made by people. You didn't have that? That must have been just my doctor. Okay. I was just curious. Because, I don't know.
Anything else you're curious about?
No, that's okay. It. No other curiosities just yet. One thing to mention was I actually did get bitten by our mascot here, the SSL mosquito. Did finally get me on the foot here. So
on the foot?
Yeah. On the ankle, I guess this is. But
how do they work?
He finally got me. I was trying to kill him earlier on, but how can I kill our mascot here, the SSL mosquito?
He's working on killing you one bite at a time.
Yeah.
Death by 1,000 cuts. All right. Well, Classic has finally picked up one bite of his own out of TY and has taken a game in this series. This is about where the series ended in GSL with a 2-1 for TY, but now we get a chance to go even further beyond into our fourth game of the series.
And here we go. Down on the bottom right, it is Classic, the yellow Protoss, and his opponent, the blue Terran. It is TY in the bottom left, and this is the first time we will be seeing Newkirk Precinct today.
That's how TY plays StarCraft. Both hands off the keyboard. And as soon as you go back, he has 5:20 APM. All right. What a cool guy. I mean, there's not a whole lot to do there anyway, especially since Workers auto mine. He is on point.
Ooh, CC first.
Wow.
Maybe he was too busy fixing his headphones, so he missed the timing of the barracks, and he's like, yeah, I guess I'll just go CC first.
Imagine a world in which that is the actual reason, Brendan. What a time to be alive.
It's happened to me before, but I don't know if TY, the pro gamer, would have it happen to him.
When I accidentally forget to build a building, I'm just like, oh, okay, well, now it's time for this build.
Yeah, I'm just going to mix it up. Let's just play greedy this time and go Nexus first.
So to be fair, he has not been all in by Classic anytime in the near future, and indeed he will not be again. Classic going for a Nexus of his own after Gateway.
Yeah, so pretty economy-focused builds from both of these players. TY will follow up with probably 3 barracks to be safe.
And we haven't seen this style before. It's a little bit more recent, but it's still pretty common. 3 barracks, indeed there are all 3 of those. You put Marines out of all 3 of them, and eventually that gives you enough production to avoid going down to anything like early oracles or any early harassment. It's not totally safe against all these early all-ins Protoss are doing, but it does give you a fighting chance at least, while you go for a very high economic advantage from that CC first.
Good scout here from Classic. We'll see the timing on the CC. We'll know that this was CC first. Sees the 3 barracks.
He knows everything now.
Yeah, couldn't really stop that scout as there wasn't a full wall at the front for TY just yet. And immediately drops down a Stargate. Wants to put on some pressure. And this is the Classic way.
Indeed it is. All right, well, this is not the TY way. He is scouting around the map for anything the Classic might be up to. I still don't know what to think about this. It appears as if TY has managed to turn over a new leaf. And now getting across the map, getting all that juicy information. And, well, finally having it picked off, so, oh well. Can't have everything. Double gas at home as well for Classic, whose Stargate rather is just now completing with an Oracle on the way, and this time there are no preemptive missile turrets from TY. He will have a bunch of Marines though, so should be.
Yeah. We'll see if he can get those Marines in position in time. This Oracle is a little bit late because of the build that he did choose, and this is what I was expecting out of Classic, the earlier 3rd base to come out very, very fast on this map, because he does know that TY is just going to be playing pretty passive after his very greedy opening.
Yep.
And here comes the first Oracle into the main. It looks like he wants to go.
Plenty of Marines waiting there, about 5, and those should be able to push it back. Maybe 1 Oracle, but not the second one on the way, so this one's just going to be scouting Oracle. Sees what is up. all the forces, the numbers of Marines, 3 at a time, being pumped out of all these barracks, but crucially only one of them is upgrading. So no combat shields can possibly be on the way, and still a couple of kills coming through, delaying that missile turret even a little bit more.
Yeah, this is the problem when you do not have missile turrets. You can actually just... You're faster than the Marines, so if TY moves his Marines, then you can pick off a bunch of SCVs, especially when the second Oracle comes. And here we go.
Yeah, this is the real sort of a thing. What? I just lost my word.
It's the real deal.
Yeah, the real, I don't know, problem, difficulty to deal with. What was the
issue?
Say? Yikes. That's how you know it's that time of the night, man.
That's the correct time to say yikes.
Ooh. Yeah, I was actually trying not to say that anymore, but oh well, we all get one. So now our viewers get one as well. 5 gateways coming up back at home. Whoa, that is a lot. All in one spot, all powered by one pylon.
Yeah, it's good. You could call that a tasteless pylon, I believe the kids are calling that nowadays.
Yeah, I think so too. I think birthday pylon was my favorite, but it's not our Justin's birthday anymore, so. No more sympathy, wow.
Ooh!
2 of course, but finally one of these Oracles getting picked up. I actually love players that commit to maybe even 3, building another one later on. It just, you can kill so many SCVs so quickly, and if they all have full energy, you run and kill the missile turret itself, so. Decent amount of damage done there. We'll save one of the Oracles, still have that floating around for a couple of kills. Even though there are missile turrets in every single mineral line, TY, in the process of expanding to his own 3rd base, while Classic already has his way up and running.
Yeah. And you guys got to look at the ground army of Classic. I think it was like 2 sentries and 2 stalkers. Now, obviously, it's bigger as the gateways do finish, but the reason that this build works is because of the Oracles, because you keep the Terran in his base so that he can't move out. So even though TY had a ton of Marines, he also did not have the upgrades for them, but also he was forced to stay in his base defending, and so Classic was able to get that really early, greedy 3rd base with basically no army.
Yeah, and I want to point out, earlier on today, WCS America, Yongshiping qualifiers, Todd and Caleris are actually pointing out that a lot of Protosses do this build where you go for fast 3 bases. Neeb did it earlier today against Masa, and it was really cool to see how effective that can be in the hands of a very skilled Protoss player, and of course Classic right on top of the list of those. So he did get 3 Nexi up very, very quickly. TY only just now having a 3rd base of his own. Scan to see it, right as he runs in with a drop.
See what this drop can do. An immediate overcharge from Classic. But the Widow Mines are going to come into the natural here. One of them actually does not get picked off. That's going to only get 1 probe. Kind of interesting. And the other one doesn't really get too much damage either. I think it hit a stalker. But I love this. I love this gateway. It's perfect position right behind the smoke, but also really close to the 3rd base of TY. So that's really going to be just like a forward warping point where you can just put on basically non-stop harass until TY does find that.
Well, that is exactly what is coming up. A +1 Glaives timing. It's +1 armor, not attack, keep in mind. So not the aggressive option. Ooh, Oracle pick off. That is very nice. Pulling forward, though, from these Stalkers will force a stim to chase these Stalkers back away. I mean, their mobility is a liability, but they will have some additional gateway units rejoining them. And there is that big reinforcing warp in.
There's a bit of an issue, actually. A nice little burrow there from TY to actually save that from the blink. Scan going down. It looks like TY is thinking about fighting this. He's already done a good job of picking off a bunch of units before the fight even started. But now it's 19 Adepts with the Glaives and the +1 armor, plus the 14 Stalkers that are now 22. And yeah, that's a really strong attack that is coming his way.
Indeed it is. This army completely incapable. But with picking up that Oracle, there's no tag to reveal these Widow Mines underneath the ground. And I think there's only 1 observer out, so definitely going to have to be very careful about that one. 1 Widow Mine shot does go up, but look at those force fields completely cutting TY's army in half. TY
able to run around the force fields, but really needs to get more fantastic Widow Mines hits to actually deal with this army, because no ghosts on the way, a pretty small Bioforce with the build that he chose. And so he needs the money shots. We'll see if he can get them.
Indeed, he does. Look at that concave. Lots of Protoss here. The only thing really saving TY at this point are those Widow Mines. Could definitely shade in and try to trigger quite a few of those. But yeah, that is quite a few. Already one hit going to go off. And finally, I think Classic might have had enough. But yeah, it does have to be very patient. Pulling the SCVs. They are going to start to come out and buffer this damage. But there's just not a lot of units on the ground for TY.
Yeah, not too much. The SCVs actually not even fighting. They ran up to the top left. And keeping them alive for now, actually, for when Classic does commit up the ramp. He wants to beat him in there. Another couple of decent Widow Mine hits.
He's going for it. Shade completes the blink up as well. And that is going to be a more dead Widow Mines. They will get picked off before any of them get shots. But look at this. Liberators to actually targetable from the low ground. Stalkers take them out. And with it, TY, GG's. Classic ties up the series at 2-2.
Stone-faced killer. Look at his face after he takes that win. A really fantastic build there from Classic. Really just punishing TY for the build that he chose. The very greedy CC first into the late upgrades, the late tech. He actually goes for a third base as well, which is sometimes you can't do. The build that I like a little bit better, especially on that map, is when they stay on 2 CCs for a long time and they make this really, really strong Terran army, and then they hit the third, potentially as right after the 8 gateways do get up and powered, because generally then the Protoss has not that many units and you can put on a lot of pressure. You can potentially even kill the third base, but TY said, hey, I'm going to go into late game, and as we saw in a lot of the games earlier on, even in GSL from these two guys, they really do like to go into the late game, but Classic, reading TY like a book, was able to put his foot down and take the win.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, well, this is going to be our final game of this best of 5. It's certainly been an amazing series in GSL, amazing here tonight in SSL as well, and it's all coming down to this. TY was able to barely edge out Classic earlier on today. Can he do it again? Find out as we get into our final map of the night. Don't recall exactly which one it is. Looking through our list.
Vestige? No. Daybreak.
It is indeed Daybreak, and here we are, Fly Better flying our way into game number 5. Our Protoss player spawning in the yellow. The bottom side of Daybreak, it is Classic.
And his opponent, up in the top right, the blue Terran, losing a couple of games in a row. It is TY.
All right, well, this is the final game, so do or die from now on for both of these players. Now, I mean, it's not the final day of the tournament or anything. There's still another day of SSL Challenge after this, so next Saturday, still going to be games there. Also wanted to mention that coming up on Monday, that's in a couple of days, the SSL Premier and when it's Premier and Classic, both the playoffs are starting, so we're going to start having Brood War and StarCraft 2 on the same day, just like we did today with GSL and ASL. It's going to be happening with SSL, and that is going to be coming up. So
yeah, definitely tune into that. That's going to be fun because all 3 of us are going to be there, me, you, and Wolf.
Yeah.
And I actually get to come an hour late because Classic is first. So you guys...
SMH.
I'll get there right when it starts, but you guys got to get it there early because you got to get your makeup done. It's okay.
Unfair. But yeah, that should be pretty great. So if you guys are used to watching SSL Classic on Thursdays, no, we've moved it to Monday. We're going to have these playoffs for both Classic and Premier.
It's going to be Monday, Thursday as the schedule, I do believe. So both Classic and Premier on both of those days, actually. Yep. So I have to come on Thursday as well.
As well as the grand finals for both of those coming up very soon as well.
Mm-hmm.
So lots.
It's June 10th, I believe.
It is indeed.
So mark your calendar. Make sure you guys are watching that. That's going to be a really fun day.
Lots of finals that week as well. We have ASL finals very soon on, I think, the 4th. So 4th, 10th, lots of finals. StarCraft, tons of it going on. It's the 3rd offline StarCraft tournament today, Brendan. So much StarCraft.
Yep. So here in this game, we do have Classic going for his Classic Stargate opening. after the Nexus, and that is going to be an Oracle first. It looks like TY has returned to his kind of more standard build, where he does just go CC opener. I don't think we did see a Reaper come out, though, so he did skip the Reaper.
Yeah.
Just scouting with the Marine, actually, for some proxy Stargates.
What was that? Say that again. Scouting?
Scouting with the Marine. Yeah, I know.
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
Really tyranning another leaf. It's best.
Tyranning.
It's the best I got. It's been a 14-hour day so far, so.
That's pretty insane.
We're still going.
How are you still alive?
Well, alive is dead, so will I be after...
You gotta make a Reddit thread. You gotta say, I just casted 3 StarCraft leagues, ask me anything.
I would get about halfway through that and then pass out, so I'm going to avoid that. But same
Maybe
opening
tomorrow.
here for Classic is going to go in for, again, a little bit of harassment. Marine's a little bit further out of position. So a couple SCV kills will come through. A second Oracle also on the way. Same exact move, and this really does not give up.
Yeah, really trying to get as much damage as possible. We do see 3 SCVs is the total amount of kills. Some good Widowmines in position, and I love how Classic always plays it safe with this first Oracle and then waits for the second one. He wants to make sure that he keeps both of them alive.
And then positions the one with more shields further ahead so they can take a little bit more hits. But, oh wow, getting actually a lot of damage done there. Not necessarily to the SCVs, to limiting this Marine count. There's only 6 on the ground. That is a very paltry force. Unfortunately, no more Oracles coming out. As soon as Haz was eliminated from WCS contention for Taiwan, I was a little bit sad.
Yeah, you gotta love your Haz games. Definitely very entertaining. We'll see if anyone
some Oracles.
Picks up the torch, perhaps, in the future.
Yeah, so Protoss players working in an extra Oracle, getting 2 now instead of just the early 1, but no more beyond it. Oh well, Phoenixes are on the way. So
yeah, very interesting that he reverts to this style once again. I think it must be map based, because when he used it earlier on, it didn't really work. And the more just ground-based armies have been winning Classic these games, but now he actually reverts to it, to the Phoenixes afterwards. And actually, TY beginning to add in some tanks now, which you don't see all too often, but definitely can help out as just a back line to add in some extra AoE.
Yeah, it can definitely help with that, and I think the cool thing for tanks is that they function very well as zoning, but they can also kind of work against you if you just get shaded on top of and lose everything. I think the big MVP unit for TY earlier, and even in GSL, was the Liberator. It just gets ranged Liberators, does so well with them. Double Oracles running in, but right into a Widow Mine.
I was just praising him for keeping the Oracles alive.
How does it work?
Why do these players do this to us? This caster curse thing?
Yeah. Every time. Earlier on today, I was like, I said that one of TY's, was it TY? I think it was one of his orbital, or one of his planetary fortresses just barely survived, and then as soon as I said the word survive, it exploded immediately. I'm like, okay, well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks. Big fan.
It's pretty nice. So, TY, he actually heard me. He is not making a 3rd CC. He's making an extremely strong army on 2 bases, and he's going to look to push that base of Classic. We'll see if he decides to go for the natural or the 3rd. You see he is adding in 2 extra barracks and actually a pretty late stim. But still going to have a really strong army when he eventually does push.
Just sieging up, making his base and defensing it, as all good players do. Robo on the way. That will be probably also for observers, just to make cleaning out these Widow Mines a little bit easier. But at the same time, a proxy pylon being placed across the map. Could have some adept warp-ins there happen. Feed those in for some harassment while TY is pushing out. Drop. Around the corner. Kind of a cool period of time. We get to kind of wait and see what the next step for both of these players are. For TY, it is not getting a 3rd base. No. He's pouring everything into straight up macro.
SCV coming out. Looks like that's meant to take the watchtower. And once again, Classic is putting this forward gateway. I really do like that play. Uh-oh!
Ooh.
Oh, that was so close to being a gigantic hit on those probes.
And still, those Widow Mines might be able to get another hit off if they don't, if they aren't rescued summarily by that Warp Prism coming, or not Warp Prism, the Medevac coming back in. But it is in fact headed all the way across the map. These Widow Mines will be taken out by that Observer coming out of the newly made robotics facility.
Yeah, so here we go. That gigantic push moving its way across the map. It looks like he wants to go straight for the third base, but good timing here for the upgrades of Classic, at least. He will have +2 ready. And even +1 air weapons is getting pretty close. And oh boy, these two guys are actually passing in the night. Classic's entire army right now is in the middle of the map as TY is about to hit his third base.
Oh my god. This might actually be a perfectly timed attack. No Protoss forces back there to defend double overcharges, triple overcharge. Finally what halts TY's aggression. And that's actually going to force Classic to come all the way back home.
Yeah, thankfully his army is pretty mobile. Those Adepts can shade back, and the Phoenixes obviously will be very fast. But here we go. That is a ton of Adepts with +2. It looks like he wants to come on in here. There's not a lot of Widow Mines to deal with all these Adepts.
Lifting up all those tanks, tons of Adepts on the ground. TY's army size dropping faster than Classic's. And oh my god, look at that. Immediately dropping down to half of Classic supply.
Yeah, well, just dancing the medevacs now as TY with a knowing grin will GG out of the game. Classic takes the 3-2, the reverse sweep from this Protoss player. And that was some really nice Protossing there in that last game for sure.
Indeed it was. Wow, Series 4 and 5, yeah, both of those games looked very Protoss, Brendan. Yeah, so Classic doing the same result overall in the series. It's kind of interesting because the Classic won 2-1 against TY earlier. Now he wins 3-2, so always just one game ahead. But if this series had ended at just 3 out of a best of 3, then it would have been TY that had won because he went 2-1 up in the series. Like, okay, that's all I got to do. But no, it's a best of 5, and Classic's still able to take the win.
Yeah, maybe I was saying that TY was out-staminaing Classic, but actually Classic is the one that came through in the end with the reverse sweep. That is extremely hard to do, to actually keep it all together and win 3 games in a row after you just got crushed by someone twice in a row. So big props to Classic, and he keeps his hopes alive here in SSL Challenge 2 because now he's 2-2, tied with TY, and in a pretty good spot. This is actually very close as we get down to the last 2 days of SSL Classic, or Challenge.
Yeah.
Did I say Classic earlier?
I think
because
so,
of
maybe.
him?
Well, we are headed out to a quick commercial break. Congratulations to Classic for his 3-2 victory over TY. We're going to head out, and we'll be right back with our final game of the night in the SSL Challenge.